Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.
That was me stumbling out of my car at 6:47 a.m. Arizona sun already punching down like it owns the place, just trying to get inside shower off 12 hours of other people's problems and disappear into my bed for 8 straight hours. All I had in my head was the thunk of my coffee cup, my keys in my hand, maybe some dumb song stuck on repeat from the drive home. And then bam, one of those moments that splits your life into before and after. My garage door up, wide open. Never ever do I leave it like that. Not once. At first my brain did that thing where it tries to smooth the edges, like maybe I just forgot. But no, because right where my father's car was supposed to be, there was nothing but ugly oil stains and the rough scrape of tire tracks heading straight out. The kind a tow truck leaves. Just gone. The 1967 Shelby GT500 we spent 10 years restoring together, me and my dad, every weekend, every time off, every late night. $340,000 poured into it over a decade, worth $2.1 million now or so, the official appraisal said, but you could have offered me 10 times that and I'd never have taken it. Because that car, that was the last thing my dad ever worked on, the last place we sat together, the last time I heard him laugh. Standing there, I felt like the floor dropped out from under me, like I was floating. Nothing making sense, too tired to process and too wired to ignore it. I called the police, not 911, just the non-emergency line. Habit. Detective Robinson, the vehicle wasn't reported stolen. It was towed yesterday afternoon under HOA enforcement. I made her repeat it. Westbrook Estates. My HOA. Not even my property, my home, my garage. Now, if you've never dealt with an HOA, maybe you think they're just about paint colors or mailbox heights. But this one, the Westbrook Estates Homeowners Association, apparently had the guts or the stupidity to tow a car out of my private locked garage. I showered, got dressed in my civvies, poured more coffee I wouldn't taste, and walked 3 blocks straight to Christine Rogers' house. She's the president, 7 terms, 18 years of community stewardship. We'd met at the welcome committee thing when I moved in 6 months back. She had that smile that never quite hits her eyes, like she's permanently sizing you up. I asked about my car. She didn't even blink, just started quoting bylaws. Section 12, paragraph 4, about how visually degrading vehicles aren't allowed. Said she had it removed for the benefit of all residents. I told her it ran perfectly. She waved her hand like she was shooing away a fly. It was old, rusty, and eyesore. These things lower property values. I'm sure you understand. I pressed for where it was now. Disposed of properly through Gerald's company, she said, meaning her husband's towing business. When I asked what disposed of meant, she looked at me with that smirk people get when they think you're not too bright, crushed Mr. Robinson. Scrapped. That's what happens to junk vehicles. She actually expected a thank you. I didn't raise my voice, didn't threaten her, didn't tell her that what she'd just described was felony destruction of property, that the car was worth more than her house, that she'd just trashed a man's legacy because she didn't like how it looked. No, I just asked, real calm, for documentation, violation, notice board votes, the whole paper trail. She laughed in my face. Feel free to file a complaint, she said, and closed the door. I stood on her perfect little porch looking at her American flag and her manicured lawn and realized that everything about her screamed untouchable. No one had ever stopped her. No one had ever made her pay. But she didn't know who I was. She didn't know what I did for a living. She had no idea she'd just handed me everything I'd need to bring her world crashing down. Next morning, I filed a records request with the HOA for every document, notice board, vote, contract, disposal log. 3 days later, 1-page denial, citing presidential discretion and confidential deliberations. No records, no explanation, just a slap in the face. And here's the thing, a lot of people ask why I didn't just flash my badge and start making threats. Simple. The moment this looked like a cop settling a personal score, I'd lose. Christine would become the victim and the whole case would rot from the inside out. I've built too many prosecutions to trip over my own pride. And then because life loves to twist the knife, my neighbors started pulling away. Cold shoulders notes on my mailbox hinting I might be happier elsewhere. At the next HOA meeting, Christine gave a speech about community cohesion and individuals undermining 18 years of progress. Didn't say my name, didn't have to. Now, most folks would just file a lawsuit, sue for damages, try to get the car's value back. But a lawsuit takes years and only gets you money. What Christine did, that was criminal. Arizona law says destroying property worth over $10,000 is a felony. Add theft, Add fraud for falsified documents, conspiracy for Gerald's part. We're talking prison time. And still she pushed. Suddenly I got violation notices for my welcome mat for a weed by my driveway for my car parked too long in my own driveway. Fines piling up, each one a not-so-subtle threat. But what Christine didn't get was that every notice, every fine, every word was fuel for my fire. I photographed everything, kept logs, documented every detail. She thought she was showing her power. She was just building a timeline of her own abuse. Then the twist: one afternoon, a woman approached me while I checked the mail. Pamela Smith, board member, nervous eyes darting like she expected someone to jump out. She handed me a USB drive and whispered, "No board vote for your car." Christine decided alone. "I have the recording. Please don't tell anyone I gave you this." And she was gone. That crack in Christine's armor. It was widening. Legal or not, a recording is a start. But I needed more. So I dug. I pulled public records, towing permits, business docs, county filings. What I found: Rogers Towing had been the HOA's contractor for 11 years. 63 vehicles towed, $1,500 paid per car by the HOA, $200, $400 per car to the junkyard. The rest straight into Gerald's pocket. Almost $70,000 in extra payments, 51 out of 63 tows, done with no board vote, no records, nothing but Christine's signature. And the victims I found: 3 of the 14 families who'd moved out within 60 days of major enforcement actions. 1 wouldn't talk. 1 had left the state. The third, David Parker, told me Christine had his boat towed while he was traveling. Legal fees wore him down until he sold his house at a loss. "She does this to anyone she can't control," he said. "The system is designed to make fighting back more expensive than leaving." He agreed to give a statement. That was the tipping point. Now this was bigger than my car. This was years of systematic fraud, bullying, and retaliation. And for once, the right guy was in the crosshairs. I called Jason Roberts, a colleague, Financial Crimes Unit, meticulous and completely unconnected to me or the neighborhood. I handed him the entire file: Pamela's recording, county docs, invoices, the statement, the appraisal photos, everything. "This isn't just about your car anymore, is it?" he asked. "No, it never was." Jason built the case careful and airtight. Criminal damage, theft, fraud, conspiracy. "You know this might not go the way you want," he warned. "Juries are unpredictable. Sometimes the villain just seems likable. But I'd learned from my dad, if you're going to do something, you do every step, not just the ones that matter to you." I asked one thing to confront Christine at the next HOA meeting. I wanted the community to hear the truth before she realized her time was up. October's HOA meeting. I showed up early, sat in the back, watched as Christine strutted through her routine. At the Q&A, I stood. "I have questions about vehicle towing procedures." She tried to brush me off, but I insisted on the record in front of everyone. I laid out the facts one by one, as calm as you please. "Did you authorize the tow?" "Yes." "Was there a board vote?" "No." "Where's the documentation?" "All lies." "You crushed a $2.1 million classic car restored with my father over a decade and called it junk." The room went dead silent. Christine's confidence cracked. "Who are you?" she finally asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Detective Terry Robinson, Phoenix Police Financial Crimes." Jason walked in with 2 officers. "Christine Rogers, you're under arrest for criminal damage, theft, fraud, and conspiracy." She didn't protest. She didn't cry. She just walked out, all that borrowed power drained away. Later I learned it was even bigger. Gerald had been running the same scheme in 4 other HOAs. The FBI got involved. Federal charges, asset seizures, restitution orders. Christine pled guilty before the trial even started. 3.5 years in state prison. Gerald got probation and lost his license for good. $2.1 million in restitution. Class action lawsuits, insurance companies refusing to cover the HOA's mess. But the community changed. Pamela was elected president. Neighbors started talking again, asking questions. The weight of fear finally lifted. And me. 6 weeks after the arrest, the junkyard called. The owner, Ray, had found the steering wheel from my dad's Shelby 3-spoke wood grain, the same one my father's hands and mine had held. He'd pulled it out on a hunch. Wouldn't take a dime for it. That steering wheel sits on my mantel now, next to a photo of my dad leaning against the Shelby, smiling like he owned the world. The car's gone. The money, who cares? But the wheel, the memory, what he taught me about doing things the right way that survived. Look, justice isn't about revenge. It's about balance, about making sure the next bully who thinks their title puts them above consequences learns they're wrong. My dad used to say, every step matters even when no one's watching, especially then. Christine Rogers built her empire on skipped steps and unchecked power. She got 3.5 years to think about why. So here's my question to you. Where do you draw the line? Is it enough to get your stuff back, or does justice demand a reckoning? Have you ever watched someone in power destroy what mattered to you? Drop your story in the comments. Let's make sure silence doesn't win another 18 years. Because at the end of the day, authority without accountability is just borrowed time. Eventually someone checks the work,